channel, I am coming in real quick with a part 1, because part 2, stay tuned, is the interview, a chat with the lovely Laquana, the owner of Blue Cup Shop. Many of you ask me, I get the DMs and comments and different things, where do I send my PDF patterns for printing? And so I have used PDF plotting, you all know that, but I also send them to Blue Cup Shop, which is obviously Black owned. She is listed on the BHM Pattern Designers page of my website. Speaking of which, stay tuned, y'all. You know February 1st kicks off the BHM Pattern Designers Sewing Challenge. So let's get going. I helped you all out all month of January. So if you have questions, feel free to leave them down below. But your question should not be, who are Black pattern designers? Where can I find their patterns? Are there any Black owned fabric shops? Are there any Black handmade handbag pattern designers? Are there any quilting designers? I answered all of that and then some in the series I did throughout this month. So if you missed any of those, I will have them up in the iCards, and I will link to those different videos down in the description box as well. So after this quick review, then stay tuned and you will hear from the lovely Laquana. And if you missed it, I went live on Friday over on Instagram and here on YouTube. I launched the new product, the monthly makes calendar. Remember, I went through this. Of course, all these designs and pretty graphics are all pictures of my fabrics throughout and also on the back. But a lovely calendar for you makers. Now, you digital ladies, this is not for you, but my folks that like the pen, the paper, you do collaborations, you do sponsorships, you do pattern tests. This is not simply just for your YouTuber. This is for anyone, no matter what platform you are on. You can now document. You have a perfect document for mapping out your projects throughout the year. And if you are being commissioned for work, you can document that in here. I went through everything in my live video on Friday, so I will link to that up here, and then you can go back and watch that. Plus, I released new fabrics, which on Wednesday's video, you will see the fabrics that I have chosen. You'll see all my plans for BHM Pattern Designers coming up on Wednesday. So make sure you are subscribed. And so also you can head over to the website, because I do have a 4-minute video that quickly goes through the pages, what's included, all that good stuff. So make sure you pick up your monthly makes calendar. It had you in mind, the maker, the creator, and it was something I had not seen in the format I wanted to see it, and so I brought it to the marketplace. So I hope that you love it as much as I do. I am so super proud of this, and I thank you all for those who have already ordered. So I'll be packaging orders this weekend, but yes, I'm super excited. So let's go ahead. I'll leave a link to all of that down below, and there's still room to register. There are still seats. Come on over, you guys, to the workshop that is being held, BHMPD Live, February 25th, 2023 here in Katy, Texas. So that will be down in the link to that as well in the description box. So what am I wearing? You cannot see it. Of course, you know I will pop up video and how I am wearing this today. I'm actually wearing it with my McCall 6939, and this is my Love Notions Metro Blazer. But the pattern I quickly want to talk about is the Rebecca Page Culottes. Now, I had this since last year and wanted to make them and never did. Super easy make, real quick, super easy. You can do the culottes or the shorts. I definitely plan on doing the shorts. This is actually going to be a TNT for me out the gate. It took me less than an hour to make these culottes. And the reason I made them is because I did not have anything nice and casual to wear when I had some errands I needed to run, and I really didn't have anything to wear. And you all know I wear a lot of dresses and different things like that, and so I didn't have bottoms, so I desperately need some more bottoms. But I wanted something nice, loose, casual, free-flowing. This is knit. The version I did, which is the version without pockets. I did not add the pockets because I typically don't put things in pants pockets, but I tend to put pockets on dresses and skirts. I don't know, but anyway, so what I did was go ahead and eliminate the pockets. I didn't need them. You'll see in the video how they move on me. Absolutely love them. These the sizing for this is size inclusive. In this current range right now, it is, this one I don't believe is in the curvy range, but you all know I've always said Rebecca Page Patterns, and you all know I'm a brand ambassador, but I've talked about Rebecca Page Patterns way before I was a brand ambassador. They've always been one of my plus size inclusive companies I always sewed up. And I have an entire playlist of everything I've made from Rebecca Page Patterns. I'll leave that up here. Go check that out. If you know, peruse around on the website and everything to see what you might want to make, and then see if I did a video on it already. But this pattern goes from an extra small to a 5XL, which is just for reference, it goes from a size of, so that means a waist starting at a size 25 all the way up to a size 50, with the hip going all the way up to a size 57. So very size inclusive. But remember, because these are culottes, you have that extra ease because you got that movement. I have them on now. I'll take them off in just a second to show them to you, and you'll see in the video. But so you have that movement. I love the way they fit. I love the way they hit. Because I've sewn Rebecca Page Patterns for so many years, I don't have to do a ton of adjustments. I tend to know what to do to her patterns for them to look good on me. And so for these, I didn't do any adjustment. The only thing I think, haven't just told you, listen to me. Haven't just told you, there is ease in this pattern, so be careful of the size you pick. I cut out and sewed up a size 2X, and this is in knit. And this knit I got from Joann Fabrics, just something quick. I had to run there, get it, and sew this up. Took me under an hour to sew it up. Having said that, I just told you, be careful of the sizing because you got that ease. I cut out, based on my measurements, the extra large for these. I think I could have just went down to a extra large instead, because the extra large is in my size, because my waist is a 38 and my hips is a 52, but the ease, I didn't pay attention to the ease because I needed them so quick. And so I was like, okay, I'll just sew that up. And so they're not baggy by no means. They definitely fit, but I'm thinking, you know, in a month, I might have to go back in and maybe, because they're just serged. 3/8 inch seam allowance. I did this whole thing on my serger, and that was it. You know, and the hem, I, you know, did the hem around on my machine, but super duper easy and really quick. Super easy and quick. I absolutely love them. Like I said, this is going in my TNT stash, my TNT pile when I need something quick, because I'm actually looking forward to making the culottes, the shorts. I love the movement. I love the movement. Let me just show you real quick the inside. Okay, real quick, here's the inside. Like I said, I serged, as you can see. And you all know, it's going a little dark on me, but you all know I usually match my thread on my serger. I'm just that person. I like doing that. But for these, I said, you know, I'm gonna leave the burgundy serger thread in there. And then of course, I've added my label in here, garment label, which can be found on my website. All right, everybody, so that is the quick review. Love, love, love. Now I have to head out, but make sure, stay tuned. The interview with Laquana is coming up next. Leave in the comments below if you are geared up and you ready for the BHM Pattern Designer Sewing Challenge. Let me know what you're thinking about making, all of that good stuff. But stay tuned for Wednesday. I have some fun and exciting plans coming up for you. All right, everybody, have a blessed start to your week, and we will see you on Wednesday. Bye. All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. I am closing out this month with a fun interview and chat with the lovely Laquana, the owner of Blue Cup Shop. She will be able to fill you all in. I get a ton of questions, usually anytime I talk about a pattern haul, especially if I've hauled any indie patterns, many people always in the comments, who do you send your patterns to? And I always mention the two shops, and one of them is Blue Cup Shop. So welcome, Laquana. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you for having me.
And Happy New Year to you, ma'am.
Happy New Year to you.
So again, I wanted to come in. One of the reasons I wanted to come in with Laquana today and introduce her to all of you is because, again, I constantly get questions on where do I send my patterns to print and all of that good stuff. But we're going to back it up. Before we get into all of that, we're going to back it up just a little bit. And I want Laquana to share where you can find her on social media. And of course, everything will be in the description box below. And then once Laquana does that, Laquana, give us background, because if people are new, maybe they only know you from Blue Cup Shop. Many of us who have been following you know you have been posting in Avid Sewer, and you've been in the game for quite some time. So you're going to have to once you tell us where we can find you, then back us up and give us a little bit of your sewing history.
Okay. You can find me I'm only on Instagram right now, and it's Blue Cup Shop on Instagram. My personal sewing page is made by Laquana. And I've been sewing, I think, since probably 2013. And as a plus size sewist, I've just been sewing and trying to navigate, the sewing space, and, going from sewing up everything to being a slow sewer. I've done it all. But the biggest thing is you can find me on Instagram, and the shop is on Etsy. But my sewing journey started back in 2013. I basically started out trying to alter clothes ready to wear. I don't know. I didn't grow up sewing. My family didn't sew. So I'm not a legacy.
So you like totally new to it.
Totally new. I was trying to alter some clothes once, and a coworker was telling me, Q, everybody calls me Q. I don't think that's the way you do it. I think I did like a big old hunk and dart on the side, something weird, right? That I was trying to do. Because every time I would take it to the tailor, I felt like it was expensive for what they were doing. And I kind of really wasn't happy with what I was getting, So I started out sewing just as a mechanism to alter clothes, whether it is hem them, because I'm tall, but I'm not. Sometimes talls are too long on me. So then I had to take them in, and I'm kind of a pear shape. So, waist was usually too big on clothes. So I started out sewing as a means to just alter clothing. And then as I started going into shops and looking for thread and stuff, I saw all this fabric and then patterns, and then it was kind of like the evolution. I was on a podcast, and I was telling people, like, I started out with Hancock's, right? Hancock fabrics, and I would just go.
I remember Hancock's.
You remember Hancock's?
There was some good fabric. Hancock's had the fabric.
Hancock was like, I would go in there for thread, and then, you see all this fabric, and like, I would kind of not really look at it because I wasn't there for that, right? I was just there for thread, for, altering. And then I just, I think, going into fabric stores for me is like some people for Target, right? It just kind of like they put something in the air. You get to sitting down, you get to looking at books, then you start touching stuff. So I think it was just the evolution. And then you start looking at YouTube, and you realize that people actually make their clothes. Because I'm not legacy, I guess I just never really knew anyone who actually made the clothes they wear, their wardrobe. I didn't really know anyone who did it. Everybody I knew had purchased their clothes. So to me, it was like, that was something that happened in the factory somewhere. It's not something I would do or knew to do, because I wasn't trained. I didn't take home ec. I'm from an inner city. We didn't have home ec, right? So I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I had never heard of home economics until I moved to the country. And I was like, y'all teach people how to cook and sew? That was not a
And I did have home economics, and I grew up in the city back in Milwaukee, but that I remember that was one of the classes, home economics class.
So I'd never been exposed to it. So to me, it was like the most foreign thing that people actually made their clothes. I thought only designers, like it was like, I wouldn't say I was super young, but I just wasn't exposed to it. So I actually started out by altering, and I still do quite a bit of alterations now because, I don't have this bad relationship with ready to wear. I know it doesn't, especially now, things have kind of come across, and I like certain fabrics and patterns and stuff, but there's actually nothing like making your own stuff. So that's how I started. I started out just altering clothes, and then Made by Laquana came about, and then I just started making my own stuff. And then I got pretty prolific. I was trying to make all of my stuff. And every new pattern sale and every new pattern haul, I was getting all the patterns, all the fabric, and then trying to make it. And I think I just burned out on that. So it kind of like, now I'm more of a slow sewer of quality versus quantity. And that's kind of how I got here. And then I got into indie sewing, and I was like, I would send my patterns off, and I was like, there's got to be a better way. I want it now, but I don't want to print it. I don't want to tape them together. And then that's kind of how Blue Cup Shop came. It was just an evolution of just where I was in my sewing journey and what I wanted. So me being impatient kind of helped with the business, right? Because I couldn't justify this plotting machine just for the 1 or 2 PDFs that I was printing. But also I realized that a lot of people just didn't know a lot about PDF, printing, and I hadn't seen anybody of color, Black women doing it at all. I know people say that, like, but I didn't. I hadn't seen it on social. I had anybody I knew. So that's kind of the evolution. But Blue Cup Shop has been, we just made a year anniversary for Blue Cup Shop.
Oh, has it only been a year?
It's only been a year. I started December 2021, so just December. Has only been a year.
Look at that.
So it's like
I would have thought easy. I don't know why easy. I was thinking 2 years.
Yeah, no, it feels like it, but it hasn't. And I think it was just the evolution of what I was doing. I still sew quite a bit, not as much now with business, but and when looking at if you wanted to do a business or not, just my business brain was like, I can't justify having this machine just for sewing. Like, I get it, like you got disposable income, but to me it was like, I wonder if anybody else wants these patterns. And this is kind of like wanted that to be printed, because there are a lot of people out there that print patterns, right? I'm not the only one who does it. So that's kind of the evolution of where I came from in terms of sewing. But yeah, I'm not a legacy sewer. I myself self-taught how to sew. I go to a lot of any conferences and stuff that I can do. I try to get to sewing classes and things like that, but self-taught, and read a lot of books. And that's kind of how I got here.
Wow, I like that. And the thing is, I think you are the first person I've ever chatted with or known of that had like no history, like you said, no legacy. Like, you weren't doing it when you were little and, that type thing. Because most people, either they started younger or they picked it up from somebody in the family, or they saw, you were like, okay. And then the thing you had the nerve to start with is alterations. So I imagine you must be really good at hand sewing.
Well, I tell you, I don't care for it, but I didn't care for it to begin with, but I've gotten better at hand sewing because you can control what you're doing more. So when I stopped being so fast with trying to get everything that was out, I don't know if you've ever been there, but just trying to just be prolific and get everything out. I've gotten much better at hand sewing and controlling. And the thing about alterations, which I really like, is that it really shows you how really well-made garments are put together, because going to a store and just looking at it, I won't remember what I saw. And yeah, you could take pictures, but when I alter, I can say, oh, wow, this is how they, interface their seams. And this is how, and I'm talking about high-end stuff. And I was like, wow, so it helps you, because I will tell you, sewing instructions and sewing patterns, even the most intermediate, are still pretty basic compared to how designer stuff is constructed. So without actually going to a factory and seeing how some of the high-end or any of the houses, the high-end sewing and stuff like that is done, alterations really shows you a lot. Like my husband's suits, when I started him and his suits, it really showed me how waistbands are made for men's pants. And I was like, why are women's waistbands not made in 4 pieces? Why is it just one? Mm-hmm. It helps you when you alter. You're like, right, this is another way to do it. And I think when you're not trained with sewing, you think that you kind of get dogmatic in the way you do things, and you think there's only one way of doing things. But when you alter, you realize that everybody does something different,
Yes.
even things that are ready to wear. And I'm like, there is a different approach that you can take to construction, and alteration help you do that. It helps you to be curious about how things are
Right.
made, right?
Because I've heard people say they've gutted or taken apart something just to see the layers underneath, or what was going on, or what was happening underneath a particular. I've seen mostly, I think I've seen that people who, like you say, with men's pants, and with jackets, with coats and jackets, because there's so much, depending on the type of jacket, especially if it's something that you found that might be vintage. Yes, that whole process really was different, and a lot more hand sewing, different techniques and stuff like that. So yeah, I get that.
Definitely. And I tell people, you don't have to go to a store and buy it. Go to a thrift store. Thrift stores and consignment stores have a lot of stuff. And when I go to places, like when I travel, when I go to visit my husband's family in the Caribbean, and I go to some of the shops, all their stuff is hand sewn. The hems are hand sewn, liners are hand sewn. Those things that you find in boutiques that have not been mass produced, a lot of them are hand sewn. So
yes,
that's kind of where my evolution of slowing down, where will this last a long time, or is it just going to be something like fast fashion that's just going to wind up in the donate pile that I spend a lot of time and money on? And then also the weight of fabric. I always struggle with the weight of fabric for a project. I don't know about you, but like you get what you get at places like some of the big box stores, but when you're altering and you know the weight of a good shirt fabric or good bottom weight, right? Even if it says it, when you buy it, when you touch it, you'll know how this weight will be. And I think that was a struggle I had early on. I just was using the wrong weight of fabric for what I was looking for. But the more I altered, the more I got good at touching understanding the weight and the drape of fabric. It's really helped. So to me, I tell people, alteration is not fun. It's like, it's not fun. But if you're looking at how to learn something by reverse engineering it, alteration is the best way to look at, how you would do something and how it could be done and still look nice. Because sometimes sewing instructions make it seem like there's only one way to do it. When if you go out there and look, there are multiple ways of doing certain finishes and things like that that are really good, high quality. So yeah, I'm not a legacy and started out taught myself, self-taught, but I do ask a lot of questions. I do read a lot of books and blogs, and try to understand my body and how things work. So yeah.
Yes, and that was one of the things that for me that continues to be part of my own evolution in sewing, is that the key that you just said is learning your body. No matter what stage your body is in, whether you're losing, gaining, it does not matter. In my opinion, I'm a proponent of make what you want to make, no matter what size you are. Because I tell you what, one of the things that I am learning and have learned, whether I'm gaining or losing weight, I know how to fit it to that change. And I'm not waiting for to be a particular size or to stabilize at a particular weight and only sew all the things at that weight or at that size. It's like, no, I don't care if I'm big or small or whatever the case. I need to learn how things, because things will look different on you depending on how much weight you gain or how much weight you lose. And knowing those proportions and understanding your body like that, I think is so super important. So that is a definitely a good point.
It's super. I wouldn't tell the one thing that I have learned is that circumference measurements they're one thing, but like you said, the balance of how that circumference looks on your body will change something. And that's why a lot of people will say, well, I look at the finished garment measurements and I should fit in it. And then when you don't, some people take it as a personal attack on their own body. I was like, no, it was just how it was made. It has nothing to do. You're right. This circumference should fit me. Why doesn't it? And so there's a lot of reasons, right? It could be the way you were measured, where your measurement's right. But a lot of that stuff is when I look at ready to wear and I look at high-end stuff and how it's supposed to drape and how it's supposed to fall on the body and how you center your body, it really helps me. So that's my way of learning, is the reverse engineering, because I don't have the ability to have someone walk me through. Actually, I don't have the time to have someone to walk me through every way of like how things are made. And for me to retain that, like I'm tactile. So I'll have to touch it and then see it. And then, you know, I just can't read it. So like
I'm
read
visual.
something.
I'm all the way visual.
Visual, right? So you'll have to see it on YouTube, but then I still have to touch it and do it like, oh, and once a lot of I'll be like, okay, I understand, you know, what this means. So, you know, that's the biggest thing with alterations, is that if you get good at and a lot of people, they don't like alterations. They won't alter ready to wear, and they won't alter things they made. And I think, you know, they just rather make something new. But I think if you get curious and you learn how to alter things that you made, not even just because you lost weight, but just because it doesn't fit the way you. So there's this fine line between swinging from overfitting, right? Because you could do that, right? Every wrinkle, you can't do that. But then there's this opportunity to alter and fit and get good at altering and tailoring your own clothes, is because after you've made it, you wear it. I call my stuff with wearable muslins. I like to wear in to work. I like to sit in it. I like to bend in it. You can't do that in a muslin, right? I wear it to work and I see how it wrinkles and I say, this wrinkle from the fabric, or is it just the way, you know, so to me, you have to kind of just be really curious with stuff. And I love TNTs because they help you with that. But even TNTs with different fabric, it changes. And so I'm really bad about altering stuff that I made. I don't know why. I would just rather just make something new. And I'm like,
that's me. I admit all day long, I am not altering anything that I made. The only thing I've ever altered, I think, was a sleeveless tank, because that was easy. I can adjust it here and up under here. And those were the only couple seams I needed to worry about. But I am that person who will sew all my clothes. And if it, you know, something over time, it just doesn't wear or hang or whatever, I'm not altering it. Is going to as long as it's in good condition, it is going to be donated.
Right. and you know, I do it all the time. And then sometimes I have to just say, if I really like it, am I going to spend the extra money to do something? But I think it was more of curious, as just knowing that I don't really like to alter. And I think that's how I went from trying to alter clothes to making them, because to me, making something was just a whole new world. And so much, it was so much more satisfying, I feel like, right? Yeah, it's nice to alter something and it fits, right? But it's nothing like making something from scratch. And so if I had to choose, obviously I'm going to want to make from scratch. But how I started was just altering. So sometimes I have to get back to my roots and say, stop being impatient, stop just getting rid of everything that you don't like, and see if you can fix it. I don't always do that, but that's kind of like something I talk to myself about. Just get back to your roots and see if you can fix it.
Right, exactly.
And see if you get along the way, because that's that sustainable part of me. Because sometimes it's no better than fast fashion. If everything you make you get rid of. This is just me speaking, right? So I have to slow down and make sure that what I'm making is of value and that I appreciate what I make. But I'm saying that here on this YouTube video, right? But you might see this bag that's in my closet with all the stuff that I am donating, and I'll go through it again. So my donation is right. It's like, it's pre-donation. It's like, oh, I'm thinking about donating. Then I go and look again and say, well, can I fit this in? And so I'm just trying to be more cognizant of altering stuff that I've made that I really spent some time on. I really like, but if I don't like it, if it doesn't suit me anymore, then why hold on to it? Because then you're hoarding, right? So you swing in this pendulum, right? You just have to find the sweet spot of
what you want. So tell us, in your pattern collection, do you find now that you have more indie patterns than commercial, or you still kind of have that balance of both?
Oh, definitely. I think being a small business owner I've always owned a business at some point or another, but never in a niche like this where I was heavily involved. I am way more cognizant of money and time. And even though I don't have a problem with Big Four, I still have hundreds of Big Four patterns. I find that and I don't buy that many patterns anymore. Also, because when you slow down, right, and you say, do I really need another basic tank? Do I
Right.
need another basic top, right? Do I need another pair of trousers? Okay, so you offset the pocket a little bit. Is it going to be worth what I'm spending on, right? So I find that I buy more indie now that I have a plotter because I am impatient, right? I don't have time to wait for something to go on sale at Joann, or well, I don't shop at Hobby Lobby, but Joann or anywhere else.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
with me, and now with all of these club memberships,
They just made it easy for you.
they just make it easy with the plotter machine. So I will tell you that I feel like, especially with indies, because I make so many adjustments to patterns, and it's just the way my body is shaped, right? Nobody's going to be able to, even when I draft my own patterns using which I do quite a bit of, I still have to do adjustments because of proportions, right?
Right.
Because you can only do so much with geometry because you got paper and then you got to put it on this 3D on this body, right? So I do find that I do more indies, not only because I want to support small business, but I can't help but to appreciate people who are taking the time to at least attempt to create something that I like as close to my body as I can.
Right.
I can't help but to appreciate that, right? I made a declaration like sometime last year that I no longer will get something a size 22 and a big 4 and graded up 2-3 sizes. I'm just not doing it, right?
Oh no, honey, I let grading go once I realized all of that. I think like 3 or 4 years ago, I was like, who is grading up patterns? No, I'm not, at least not me. I know that
Right.
that's still a group of people that don't mind it.
Right.
I'm not doing it. If it's not those measurements don't fit, somewhere, I don't fit somewhere in those measurements, I'm not getting it.
Right. So, and I never knock people for doing it. I would rather draft it myself because it feels like you redraft it anyway. So I guess the more I spend with indie patterns is the size ranges and some of the different things like FBAs that are already included and forward shoulders and stuff like that. I just can't help but to appreciate those things, right? I still have a small place in my heart for commercial patterns, right? Because this is where you start. But when I realize that it's really not geared toward me and my size, right? When you look at all the things they do, just like anything else, right? Just like ready to wear, right? It's really not for my size. So why I'm gonna give you my money, right? I'm way more, and I just don't have the space anymore to just keep just because it was $1.99 or just because it was $1. I think they were 99 cents at, you go to Hobby Lobby or Joann's, you would get Simplicity, you get them for 99 cents. So it felt like what's the big deal, with doing it. But since I've learned how to draft, it's a better use of my time for me to start from what I already know to be true, right?
Right.
And there's not that many things that you don't really see a lot of Vogue patterns that go up to size 26, 28, 30, some of those patterns. So you see a lot of the Simplicity, and so you see a lot of the McCalls and Butterick. And so and depending on the way those blocks are made, just the amount of, I don't know,
adjustments and everything you might have to make, which brings me to this point about Blue Cup Shop. So you just celebrated 1 year. So congratulations on that. I want to know from your perspective, again, maybe this has something to do with because you don't have the history of, sewing and all of this other different stuff. But as you mentioned earlier, you're not the only person on the marketplace that does the printing. People sometimes, when the only thing I don't understand is, unless this is their only option, is people who go to places like UPS and Office Max, because they are crazy expensive, like ridiculous expensive. So unless that's somebody's only option, I don't know why they would go there, unless again it's out of convenience. But I want to know from your perspective, even though you're entering in, and I come from a place of there's room for everybody. That's just my way of thinking. I don't care how many people does something. There is somebody else that is doing it I just think people's gift in their mindset and their thinking is so different that your particular thinking about Blue Cup Shop and how you want it to look, how you want it to roll out, all of that will resonate with a population of people. And those are the people that will come to you. One of the things I saved this. I wanted to unpackage it, but I was like, oh, you know what? We're chatting, so let me just say this. I'll keep it like this until after our chat. But this is the package I just received from you about three or 4 days ago, and this is like, I think 5 patterns or so, and about 5 patterns, and I absolutely love how you package it. Why? For at least for me, is usually when I send things off to print and I get it back, I usually fold them all up, all the pages individually, and I put them together, and then I put them in my, like one here, I have a plastic holder that I put them in. So when I order from you and I get this packaging like this, I love it. I've ordered from you before, obviously, but when I take these rubber bands and everything off of this, all I got to do is separate them and put them in my plastic envelope. So again, I guess I went long there, but from your perspective, from deciding, you know what, I'm going to do this, I'm going to offer printing, I'm going to open up this shop, despite anybody else that has a shop open or who's doing something similar. So tell us a little bit about that evolution down to how you thought about, you know, you wanted your packaging and things to be.
So I think it's like, when most people, it's like, what's the problem I'm trying to solve? Right? So the problem I was trying to solve with Blue Cup Shop was I needed a boutique service. And that's what Blue Cup Shop is. Blue Cup Shop is boutique service. You know that because you shop with me many a times. And I appreciate it. But most people contact me because they don't understand the other folks. Because it is really made to be self-service. And self-service works for a lot of people, but it doesn't work for others. So the value I have, not only by being a Black sewist, plus size sewist, and a person who most of the patterns I print, I look at, you just get this boutique service with me. And I felt like that was missing, not just in printing, but just in general, right? We've gotten to the point now where everything is, and I consider myself an elder millennial, a zennial, if you will. And I am all for apps and doing things. And that works actually for me. I'm actually not a person that needs boutique service, but I know people who do need it. And so the evolution of Blue Cup Shop came about because I wanted to provide just a boutique service for those who are sewing. I have so many people that send me patterns. They've never opened it. They don't know what's in it. And we have this relationship where we just talk about what they want, what looks good. I've had people send me 2 front pieces and I'll call them. I'll be like, are you going to make this? And they go, well, why do you ask? I was like, because you send me a front and not a back. Typically, when you have a bodice, you have a front and you got a back. I don't usually 2 fronts. And they're like, oh, thank you for looking at that. That's some of the problems people have when they go to the big box stores, because you just send a file and they print what you give them. Nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Right. But what I provide is just a little bit something else, is to look through what you get, see if I can help you, walk you through the process, educate you about it. Because some people don't even know what type of file it is, what size, how they come, what they want from it. And so I just took the opportunity to find this area that I didn't see. I'm not saying it's not out there. I didn't see it. And right. I just wanted a boutique service. I wanted people to be able to say, hey, this is what I got. Can you assist me? I had people from all over, from Hawaii to Puerto Rico to California, and they will wait for the service. And I also didn't want it rolled. I have a gentleman who, he wants his stuff rolled. He doesn't like them folded. He's my only one. He wants them rolled. It's more of actually, it takes more time for me to fold them, but because I'm checking, and also I do stuff like check the scale. The scale of the pattern to make sure it printed properly. He's the only one wants it rolled. and I rolled them for him because he doesn't like to press his patterns. And the first time I said, a cool iron will, just educate, because I don't know if he knows. I don't know how much he knows about patterns. He was like, yeah, I just don't like it, right? So he's one of the only ones, when he requested his personalization, hey, can you roll these for me as opposed to fold? I do that for him. And so we have this thing, we have, and then it morphs into all these different things. But I fold because that's the way I like it, but it takes more time. That's why it's boutique. And I can't keep up with the bigger people who print, but I'm not intended to, right? Because I'm checking scale, I'm checking to make sure that this pattern actually has all the things that it's supposed to have. And I'm checking the scale of them, I'm folding them up, I'm making sure that they get to you. And also I do stuff like I only print certain layers. Some people don't want all the different sizes on their patterns.
Yes, I've asked that.
I can appreciate that. And so there's things with boutique service where I'm giving you exactly what you need at a reasonable price. And that's kind of where I was with it. And I was like, how can I make this, if I get this machine and I use it for myself, how can I add value to others? And that was the way I do it. So I don't have the volume that they have because I can't handle it, right? I can handle boutique service. I'm not Walmart, right? I can't handle that type of, then I lose this part of what makes this Blue Cup shop so special, which is, like I said, it's just this boutique education service. People email me stuff all the time. I had a guy today that emailed me something and it was a poster. And he was like, can you print this poster? And I was like, I don't typically print posters, but I'll give you a poster price because I can with the plotter. I've had quilters come to me and I've created these big appliques for quilters. And we work together. Now that's hard to do with the big box, somebody who you don't know. I had to have her, I don't know if it was her grandson or somebody help her with it because I don't manipulate files. It's like, hey, if you get it to about this, you should be good. And this will work for you. And we went through 2 iterations and it worked. And so I have this boutique service where I help quilters all the time. I help, I get a lot of people who like cosplay. Mm-hmm. I even have some customers who want me to print it out on 8.5 by 11 and mail it to them so they can tape it together. I wouldn't do that, but
that would not be me. I don't like taping together. But speaking of which, on your web, tell us on your Etsy shop, you have an option, the options for deciding what pages or patterns to print. Speak to us a little bit about when people come to your shop on Etsy, what they'll see as some of their options, because you do have an option if people want their instruction book printed, correct?
Yes. So you can get an instruction booklet printed. I keep it super casual. Most of my folks are like me. They just have it on their iPad. They don't print it out. But I have some people who actually want paper. They want to flip through it and they see it. So you can get your instructions printed. I put it on a little booklet and I staple it together and send it to you. I also have the option of a copy shop size or AO, which is your normal, like fits on 36-inch by 48-inch paper. And then I have some longer pages, think Style Arc and some other.
That's what I was thinking. Style Arc, usually there's
Style Arc has a long one. There's a few other companies that have these longer pages and they're called wide format. And I give you options that you can print those as well. So instead of maybe having 2 AO size pages, you may get 1 extra long page, right? And so you have an option to, I give you instructions in the description on how to identify what file you have and what size you have. But then with my boutique service, I also give you as like, hey, just send it to me if you're not sure. Because what I don't want you to do is purchasing the wrong thing, going through the gyrations, because you can't call me on the phone, right? And it's email and people get frustrated. That's like, send it to me and I'll let you know what size it is. And then that way, when you check out, you have confidence that number one, I can print what you're looking for, and then you know the size. And so that's the education piece. So when you go in and you go into Blue Cup Shop, you pick one of the listings and each one has a description as to how to look at your file in a PDF, whether you're using Adobe or any other PDF viewer, and identify how many pages you have. And the size. Now, some places have this new software where it does it for you. But me, it's just my eyes. I still look at them, and I ask questions about what they're printing. I've had a few people that I know are plus size send me a cashmere pattern from the smaller size range. And I go, and I don't mean any harm, but I said, before I print all this, I was like, did you send me the right size range? So I'll say stuff like that. And it was like, oh my goodness, I didn't, because when it first came out, it was getting confusing with the size range. When you download it, you don't really know which one. So just that type of thing. I've never offended anyone, but I've always said, hey, just know that there are two size ranges. You mean to send me this one? So a lot of that, just having that service where it's good old fashioned customer service where you're actually talking to people. And
truly
again,
boutique.
It is not for everyone. And if you don't want it, I have some people who just send me their patterns. They check out and I just say, hey, received. I also let you know that I received it, if I can do it. So just that communication where it's not just some black hole. You don't know if it got it, how long it's going to take, those sorts of things. So there's a boutique side of it, but then there's also the automated side. You just go through and get what you need and it works. So that's how Etsy itself works. I like Etsy because it has the marketing, has everything in it, and it's contained, and it's easier for me as a small business to manage. But once you go in, I took a lot of work in the item description to try to help people to figure out what to do. But then I'm also giving you an out and said, if this is too much for you, because some people, after they read the first paragraph, they was like, look, I can't with all these instructions. And I say, that's fine. Just send it to me. Give me some time and I'll let you know what to do. And we'll go from there.
Right.
So really, it's just that customer service piece. Like I said, some people really appreciate it. I have a lot of my golden girls and guys who call me because they just don't understand how it all works. They send it to me from their iPad and I tell them how much they have to pay. And they're happy with that relationship. I have some of my friends just send me a email and be like, just bill me. I only reserve that for a select few because I can't manage that type of thing. But it's just that boutique service. And that's kind of the one thing that separates me. Not only that, is just being a Black sewist and business owner, because I also sew. So most of these patterns I own myself or I'm excited about. And I try to put that on my Instagram to show what's the most popular patterns out there, just so people know new patterns that's out there, because I see a lot of new patterns that I had never, or pattern companies that I've never been exposed to had I not been for this.
Right. I love it. I love the evolution of your business. I love the uniqueness of it because it truly is boutique. Definitely customer service is absolutely phenomenal. But anybody who visits Blue Cup Shop, in the reviews, Etsy, for any shop on Etsy, there's all the reviews for that particular business and everything. And so you have amazing reviews. And it is good to see. I have noticed when Instagram algorithm acts right, every now and again I do see your posts where you do post, a pattern that has come through the shop, something new or something like that you haven't seen before. And so, but yeah, that's only if Instagram is acting right.
It's only if it's acting right. And because I'm so busy with customer service, I don't get to be on social media as much. And so here's the toss up, right? There's this toss up where my social media presence is not as great as it could be. That's because I'm so busy actually just talking to people, and I talk to people a lot. I have people who want to call me and talk to me a lot about, just patterns and what am I thinking, and what I got people who just check on me. Hey, I had seen you on social media. I don't want to buy anything today, but how are you? So it's just like this community, this relationship that I really appreciate from people. So I love it.
I love that. I love it. Well, everybody, you will have to click the link down below in the description box. I am going to leave Blue Cup Shop. I'll leave all your social media. So is that fine? The social media for everything. Okay. So I'm leaving social media for Blue Cup Shop, made by Laquana, as well as, of course, the Etsy shop, because it's very easy to use. And again, you're going to get, if you are like me and do like having everything folded up for you, definitely go with, and that's multiple. She does it anyway, you know, as she said, but yes, I will leave all of that in the description box down below. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And if it's something I can get over to LaQuana and she can answer it, most certainly will make sure that that gets done as well. So thank you, LaQuana, so much for your time.
I appreciate it.
Everybody, I know we are ready to kick things off for BHM Pattern Designers Sewing Challenge, which starts on February 1st. If you are coming to Texas for the event, cannot wait to meet you. I believe at the time of this recording, there will be some seats still available. So come on and join us here in Texas. But again, thank you so much, LaQuana, for your time today.
Thank you.
And everybody, you all have a blessed rest of your week. And we will see you in the next video. Bye.